Hello everybody, it's Carl here from Comic Culture in the Game Store in Lincoln in England, and today I'm going to talk about South China Sea from Compass Games. Designed by John Gorkowski, it is modern naval combat in the South Pacific, as you can see at the box. Just taking a look at the box itself, really attractive. Picture of obviously a big carrier there, some counters from the game, that's the design of the counters. I think they're really attractive. Looking at the back, you've got section of the map. Again, more of the counters, very modern design there. It says complexity 7, sounds about right. Solitaire suitability 6. I would even say possibly the complexity is slightly less than that, but 7 seems a reasonable number to give it. Lovely design, nice packaging, nice box, good size, good depth. You're not worried about getting everything in. So let's have a look what's in the box. Okay, starting with the cards. Okay, there are cards in this game. Now the idea of the game is that you will have a political segment where you take it in turns to play cards and you're trying to influence people, get your units on the map, etc. And then at some point it will all kick off and you'll go to a military segment. That's when you actually set the maps up and you put your units on. So there's the counters, there's a couple of dice, maps. Okay, lovely maps. I really like these. Big hexes, nice clean colours, great font. I'll do the cutout of the map again so you can see it a bit better. Here we have the eastern map from South China Sea. Directly in front of you to the west of the map we've got the Spratly Islands, then Malaysia and Brunei, and then further east Indonesia, and then to the north of that you have the Philippines that extend all the way up to Luzon in the north. And here we have the western map from South China Sea. So looking towards the east, at the southern end of the map we have Myanmar, then further north Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam, Laos, and then up in the north the People's Republic of China. Here you've got the transit tracks, victory point track, turn track and the terrain. Looking further east you've got the island of Hainan, and then in the southeast corner you've got the Spratly Islands that tie up with the east map. Here you have both maps overlaid looking to the north. So on the west map you've got the turn record track, China, Laos, Thailand, Cambodia and Vietnam. Then over in the centre you get the Spratly Islands, and then over to the east you get the Philippines, and to the south Indonesia and Brunei and Malaysia. The whole thing actually only forms about the size of one decent sized map. There's quite a lot of overlap in the middle, about 6 or 7 hex columns I would say. 2 player aid cards. Okay, this side you've got the quick reference card, so it tells you for a unit, gunnery factor, underwater factor, anti-surface, anti-ground. You've got the range as well on some of them, so your anti-surface and your anti-ground have got range. So that's the guided missile cruiser, the Ticonderoga. And then you've got a Chinese submarine here. So, you know, that's got an anti-surface rating and a range. It's got a move, it's got stealth, etc. So lots of information on the counters. They're really big, clean, easy to read counters, I think. Aircraft again, of course, and you get some ground units. Though, you know, it's quite a fast-playing game, so the ground units aren't going to have a massive impact, I wouldn't have thought. There's your air-sea engagement sequence, so it tells you how to do stuff. Movement category, the different type of hexes that you get, deep sea and littoral hexes, illumination radius in hexes. There's your sequence of play for the military turns. There's your order and your maximum rate. So really nice, full colour, excellently done. Got some of the counters, some of the markers first. So you've got things like forts, you've got lost markers, whether a unit's in port, evading, you've got task force markers. Now, don't know if you can see that one there, but you've got sea dragons. Seem to be some kind of divers, special forces I imagine. Lots of, you know, really nice big attractive markers, control markers as well of course. Then you get your units. Now there are 5 factions in this game. One of them is Malaysia, Okay, so the few Malaysians there. Then you've got the Chinese. Now these counters are back to back, if they're top to top. So whichever way you have it, some of them are going to be upside down, but it does mean that you don't get bleeding on the counters or colour bleeding. So I think that works really well, and I wish everybody would do it. So you got your ground units, you know, lots of submarines, guided missile frigates. Okay, so there's your Chinese ones on the back as well. Then here you've got the other three factions. So I'll do it this way up. You've got the United States on that side. They've obviously got a pretty big navy. Again, they've got the Navy SEALs there. Then you've got the Philippines and you've got Vietnam. So, you know, all of those nations represented in the game. Then you've got the rules. These are fantastic rules, I think. 32 pages, really well done, full colour, you know, massive examples of play. I'll take you through them quickly. So, like I say, you've got a political turns, and then you've got military turns, and so in the military turns you actually put the units on the board and start playing it. They're lovely. Just the font is fantastic. I find them very easy to read. The use of colour is very good. So there we've got a card. Okay, the title of the card, who can play it. So only a regional power, in this case Malaysia, Philippines or Vietnam. The other two powers, of course, being the USA and China. Others can trade it or discard it to pass their turn. Bit of context, you know, what it represents, and then the effect of the card. Okay, the consequences effectively. So you get political negotiations go on. Then you start to get into your military turns. So, you know, you can see all the different countries involved. It tells you the hex types, you know, how far things can move. You've got your military sequence of play. You've got rules about low ammo. Air-sea engagements, obviously pretty important, including the sequence. Ground movement, ground combat. And this to me is, you know, this is one of the highlights of the rules for me, an extended full colour example of play. And now I've always thought GMT were one of the people that you would go to if you wanted to give an example of great rules, but Compass really up there with them. You know, I would say they're one of the best. I think this is fantastic. I find you read these first, you read the example of play before you actually start reading the rules. And then what happens, the rules will then in context, you know, work better in context because you know what else can go on and you will actually understand the reasoning behind the rules. You've got several scenarios from flat top showdown to a rather silly scenario at the end that you can see up there. Scenario 007, the islands of Dr. No. I wonder what that's to do with. A little inspired by some film character and book character. They've provided you with this as well. This is a pretty large sheet. It's like having another map, but actually it's just all advertising for their games. But, you know, there's some interesting stuff, so definitely worth a look. And it looks like they've got a bit of a sale on at the moment. If you use the code HOLIDAY17, they're giving some discounts. 40% off, in fact. So if you want to buy directly from them, now is a good opportunity. I always love the Fleet series. You know, I always wanted something to replace them. This to me is going to be my go-to game. It's a follow-up to Beyond the Chains, slightly different scale, obviously different rules, but set in the same area. I'm really, really looking forward to get this one on the table, and hope you are too. Thanks very much for looking. This is Carl from Comic Culture of the Game Store saying thanks for watching, and don't forget to click like and subscribe if you enjoy what I do, and feel free to leave any comments, especially if there's any other games that you'd like me to look at. And thanks very much for watching. Bye!